Hey,
I
you
tried to
must
find
have
the Obi
deleted
Wan
the Obi Wan
and I
Kenobi.
didn't see it.
Oh, maybe we deleted it. What's that?
We must have deleted the original Obi-Wan
Yeah, because I
Okay.
didn't see it, so
Okay.
I
I got it
removed
on the
it.
title on there.
Okay.
All right. So let me just test it, and I'll give you a thumbs up. Make sure that we're streaming.
Okay.
Okay. What is up, everybody in the underground metal scene? I'm your host, Logan Stick, and welcome to It Came From Underground, the show where I do quick reviews of singles, EPs, and demos, or just any type of released music from metal bands that are not completely well known, but are starting to get a name for themselves. In this week's episode, I'm going to be doing reviews of just 2 releases this time. The releases is going to be the latest single from Illusion of Fate and the 2-track demo release from the band called Dehumanizing Encephalepsy. But first, It Came From Underground would like to give a quick shout out from the sponsors of this episode. This episode of It Came From Underground is brought to you by Forest Vision Promotions, one of the best local gig booking and promotion companies in Wisconsin. If you or your band is looking for the right promoters for your upcoming Wisconsin gigs, Forest Vision Promotions is for you. Forest Vision Promotions can be found on various social media platforms, including Facebook and Instagram. Now that we just got done with giving a shout out to the sponsor for this episode, let's finally get started with the releases. And the releases I would like to review. First, let's review the latest album from Illusion of Fate, or the latest single from Illusion of Fate. Just one quick second. Actually, first we're going to, actually, we can hold off with Illusion of Fate. First, I would like to do a review of the 2-track debut demo from Dehumanizing Encephalectomy. This is, if you don't know about this band, this is a one-man slamming brutal death metal band from Korea. Yeah, I'm definitely one of the few bands that I can think, metal bands that I know that are from Korea. There's probably a few that I can think of, but this band is definitely not an exception. Apparently this band is a sort of like a one-man side project from Ryu Gun, who is from the band Visceral Explosion. Yeah, I know, definitely a crazy name. But yeah, anyway, this is his side band, where he basically does all the instruments, which is actually really impressive. You know, I mean, like seriously, I personally find one-man bands to be absolutely impressive because it's just one member doing everything in the band, and there's a lot of amazing bands there, and this new band here is definitely no exception. Like, this is some pretty brutal, slamming, intense stuff. The vocals are definitely really just guttural and really inhuman sounding, and the instrumentation is absolutely fire. It's probably some of the heaviest stuff, not just to come out of Korea, but just out of the world, period. And yes, I know this is a demo. I usually don't really do reviews of demos. I usually do reviews of just singles or EPs or albums, like actually fleshed out recorded ones. But I thought it would be a good idea that I give this demo a shout out because, this is a demo. A demo is sort of like a resume. It's definitely used to get attention from labels and such. And honestly, this band really deserves it. And I honestly think that this one-man band has a very bright future. And I'm beyond excited to see what he has next in the future. And if you haven't checked this demo out, definitely check them out. And definitely give this band a follow on Facebook and Instagram if you haven't already. And next, I'm going to be reviewing the latest single from Illusion of Fate. To any of you who don't know about this band, Illusion of Fate is a sort of like blackened death metal band. It's like melodic blackened death metal from surprisingly Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I've a little bit of a history with this band. I've been a fan of this band for a very, very long time. I've been a fan of them ever since they put out their debut EP back in 2020, Emerging Sentience. And ever since I've listened to that EP, I've immediately fell in love with this band. And I've been following them on social media, and I've been really excited for what they are about to bring next to the table. And until I heard this single, I was definitely impressed. Oh, I forgot to say, I actually had the chance to do a show with these guys. My band, Crown and Scepter, who I talked about in my first episode, actually, our very last show that we did in Portage, we actually opened up for these guys, when I found out about this, I was almost fanboying out. It was like a dream come true. And when I heard this single, yeah, it's still some of the best music that I've heard from Illusion of Fate. It's definitely still the Illusion of Fate that I know and love. Like, if you're a fan of bands like Behemoth, where it's like mixture of black metal and death metal, but something that's a little more melodic, this is definitely for you. And if you've been following this band since the very, very beginning like I have, and if you actually have been supporting them and actually been doing shows with them, like what I have, definitely give them a shout. Definitely give this new single a listen. You won't be disappointed. And definitely, if you haven't supported them already, like follow them or anything like that, definitely check them out. Support them on Facebook and Instagram. Check out their stuff, buy their merch, you name it. They definitely need the support. They definitely deserve support. So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up this episode of It Came From Underground. If you enjoyed this show, then do the usual. I come in on the show on NWTC on their YouTube channel titled NWTC DMT or DMT NWTC. We stream every few Mondays, and if you enjoy the show, then subscribe to DMT NWTC to stay tuned if you want to see more episodes of my show. And once again, my name is Logan Stick. I am the host of the show, and you just watched It Came From Underground. And I really hope you guys like this episode. And as always, stay tuned, have a nice day, and as always, keep it metal.
Welcome back to Wisconsin's Sports and Review Update with me, Kyler Chaudry. In sports news, yesterday the Packers did a surprising turnaround from the first half of miscues to the end of the third quarter when everything started coming their way. And they end up winning 18-17. I'm curious what Coach LaFleur and quarterback Love were thinking when stuff started changing the momentum in their way. Would have been great knowing what was going on in their heads. And then it's a good thing that, Derek Carr did a great job, but it's a blessing in disguise that Carr went down and the Packers ended up getting all the momentum. And then also the Bears and Vikings lost yesterday, but the Lions did end up winning, so that'll be a great matchup Thursday with the Packers versus Lions. I'm curious what for surprises, I'm curious to see what'll happen for the Packers. Hopefully they come out on top. And then also for great shout out to the defense to keep pulling strong throughout the whole game. And then our offense coming alive at the end of the third into the fourth quarter. And then for the Brewers, they're only one game away from clinching the division, which their next game is tomorrow. So hopefully tomorrow night they'll have their division clinched for the postseason. The biggest thing that I'm worried about for the postseason is the Dodgers are always really tough against the Brewers. So if we have to face them, I hope somehow we come out on top over the Dodgers. And then also I've noticed the past couple of years, whenever the Brewers made the postseason, whoever they ended up losing to ended up winning the World Series. So I'm really hoping somehow it's our year and we go all the way. We definitely have the pitching and the offense and defense to do it. Just all of it needs to come together at the right time. And I think we have a truly great shot at winning the World Series this year. And then also in Bucks news, Giannis definitely wants to win more championships before retiring. So I'm hoping he ends up re-signing with the Bucks. But I know he wants better pieces for the future. So I'm hoping the Bucks will give him all the pieces and weapons that he needs to help the Bucks win another championship or two. And then for a trading prospect, I've heard that they're interested in trading for Buddy Held from the Pacers, who's a great piece. So if they do end up signing him, I think that'll be a great person to get in the organization. Always the hard part is with trades, you never know what'll actually happen. So if it does happen, hopefully it'll be a great trade for the Bucks. And then the Milwaukee or Wisconsin sports in general for professional sports have done pretty well the past couple of years, and I hope they keep doing amazing as they have been. Milwaukee has great sports for the past couple of years, and I hope they continue that way into the future. And that's it. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to Mushroom Power Review. For this week, we'll be talking about the Wii for our third episode. This one was the successor to last week's, the GameCube, and it came out in 2006. When the Nintendo revealed the project for the Wii being all about motion control, a lot of people were somewhat concerned about it because up to this point in 2006, a lot of motion control based games weren't really up to par. They were still kind of shaky and weren't really connecting well. But when the Wii did end up coming out and they had Wii Sports, the first game they released on it, a lot of people were really impressed with how well it controlled, being able to do all the different sports of baseball, tennis, or bowling, and it actually kind of worked how it intended. So after that, kind of a lot more of the younger audience then ended up going into the Wii as it that was when it more so gaming started to get mainstream. So around like 2008, 9ish, a lot more younger people started getting games and whatnot, and the Wii was one of the main options. But now that our intro of the Wii is out of the way, we'll be going to our commercial. And this week it is once again MSPN Racing on YouTube. They post weekly tournaments at around 6 o'clock, and their season 2 of NASMARB is into the final race of this season with the playoffs coming next week. But here's our commercial.
Now they got to contend with the 4 passes made, but look at Murakami passing back on the backstretch and getting the win. Advancing into the final 6 is the 4. There, the 48 had the pass, had completed it, but couldn't get the car straight again, and so Murakami passed right back.
With our ad break done, it's now time to get to the best part of our show, which is showing off the video games of the Wii. I'll be showing off 6 more games that made a big impact on the Wii as a whole and Nintendo brand. So here's the 6 games for the Wii. So yeah, starting from the front, as I stated about it, Wii Sports, absolute Grand Slam release for the Wii. It was the first one they released and basically universally loved by a lot of people. So since that was the early release for the Wii and they didn't have too many more games out. That was a huge seller for the Wii, which made them stay up in the front for a long time just because of how good Wii Sports was. But the next one on that list was Super Mario Galaxy, which is the newest installation of the 3D Mario mainstream games. And it's been viewed as one of the best of all of them. It's just a very insane gimmick of having Mario in space, but it actually works out really well with all of the different worlds for it, and has probably the best video game soundtrack of any Nintendo game. But the next one on there, Mario Kart Wii, the new installment of that. I personally say it's the number 1 or the number 2 of all Mario Kart games. It's very, very good. And it's the only one that's actual motion controls of steering the wheel. And it actually feels really good. It feels pretty correct, and when you steer right, it goes right and whatnot. But perfect game just to kind of play with friends, so it's one of the more popular ones on the Wii. The new of Zelda that was on there, Twilight Princess. From last week, we had Wind Waker, which is all cartoony and whatnot, but you can already see how Twilight Princess looks different, and it actually has more of a darker and grim style to it, so it's vastly different from how Wind Waker was, which I think most people in the Zelda franchise enjoyed that more aspect, because mostly the Wind Waker style hasn't come back, whereas there has been more like Twilight Princess. And then on to Smash Bros. Brawl. It's kind of viewed as the middle child of the series. Most people were kind of iffy on it after Melee's release. A lot of the people that had already been playing Melee kind of still preferred that one more, but for new people getting into the game, they kind of preferred that one a lot. So it was more so kind of a split release of who liked it or whatnot. And then the last one in that list of Mario Party 8, I think is personally one of the better ones, but most people aren't that enjoyed with it because every mini game is motion related, so some people weren't as great with it, but I think it has a lot of good mini games and good boards that go with it. But that's been my review for the Wii, and for our final episode in 2 weeks, it'll be on the Nintendo Switch, the newest release console for the Nintendo system. But thank you for watching this week's.
Hey guys, how's it going? Landon here with the Chasing Deer podcast. Welcome back to another episode. Today I got another good one for you guys. We're going to be talking about my personal favorite way to hunt, which is a spot and stalk and then sitting by a tree. So yeah, two very, very great ways to hunt. Personally, I like the spot and stalk better because I love just running around the woods and being who I want to be. Sitting by the tree is also a good option. Not my favorite pick, just because I don't like sitting there. But yeah, I'm gonna bring you guys to land in the field with more in depth on each of the ways of the hunt. So let's go to Landon. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the field here. Today, Landon obviously mentioned that we're going to be talking about spot and stock and sitting against a tree here. So let's get into it. Both are great ways to hunt. They're probably going to be your more difficult methods, seeing that a spot and stock you're going to be moving around and sitting by a tree. Obviously, you're sitting by a tree out in the open here, so you might not have as much cover as you would if you were in a tree stand or a box blind. But either way, two fantastic ways to hunt deer. Personally, my favorite, the spot and stalk. Spot and stalk is going to be one of those situations where you have a deer, maybe he's a couple yards away, a couple hundred yards away in the field. That's when you're going to be using terrain and other geographical markings and points and trees and stuff like that to get into a better spot to spot and stalk that deer. You're stalking the deer, which means you're following him around, you're watching what he's doing, and yeah, you want to get into a close enough range where you are going to be able to make a successful shot and hopefully kill that deer. Now, when you're sitting by a tree, obviously, you're not moving around. You're just sitting here, waiting for that deer to come around, and who knows, he could come within 50 yards of you, and he could come within flipping an arm's distance away. You just never know. It depends on how still you are, how you're set up, where you're set up. All that stuff comes into play. Personally, spot and stalk is going to be my way to go. I don't prefer to sit still, but if I have to sit still, I'm going to sit still. Spot and stalk is definitely by far the hardest way to hunt an animal. No matter what, whether you're hunting elk, deer, turkeys, either way, a spot and stalk is going to be the hardest way to hunt. But yeah, it's definitely the most fun way to hunt. Let's see here. When you're sitting by a tree, obviously you need to take into account your surroundings. Now, if I was sitting at this tree, I would definitely not see a single deer because I'm out in the open. I have no cover to my left, very little cover to my right here. I mean, I stick out like a sore thumb right now. There's no way you guys can't see me sitting here, even with this camo on. Sometimes in a spot and stalk situation, you'll use something like a decoy to put in front of you so you can truly spot and stalk a deer, meaning you're sitting behind the decoy, you're walking up to this deer, so you're trying to make an impression that you are another deer and that deer is going to want to come by you and you're going to want to go by that deer. But yeah, either way, fantastic ways to hunt. I love doing both of them. And yeah, I hope you guys learned a little bit here in the field. And yeah, let's bring it back to Landon right after this short sponsorship break. Alrighty guys, so I hope Landon in the field there gave you guys a much better rundown of the two methods. I did just get asked a question that I didn't mention in the video out there in the field, but what do you do if a deer starts charging you? Well, my first instinct is to shoot the sucker, but you never know. But yeah, now let's talk about, which one's my favorite. I said earlier that the spot and stalk is my favorite because I don't sit still. I'm not good at sitting still. Both methods, they're good methods. The spot and stalk is the hardest one. I mean, obviously deer are looking for unnatural movement, and you're an unnatural person trying to mimic a natural thing. So you're not obviously going to be as natural as a deer would want, which is what makes it difficult to complete a spot and stalk. Whereas when you're sitting on the ground, obviously you're sitting there, you're trying to be as still and natural as possible. You're able to throw sticks and stuff in front of you to create kind of a barrier. My favorite way to sit on the ground, sit by a tree, is I will literally grab branches off of trees that are still green and I will throw them in front of me and then just start throwing sticks and other leaves and stuff and literally build a makeshift tent. That way I can break up myself from the environment and I can be kind of hidden in that tent. But yeah, that's let's go to our sponsor for today's video, Matthews Archery. Yeah, so that's the sponsor for today's video. Matthews, I just purchased my new Matthews, the Phase 4. I absolutely love the thing. Have yet to shoot a deer with it, just because I am very, very bad at shooting things. I've missed 3 deer in my life and 1 turkey, so I'm not very good. But you know what? Maybe now that I have this bow, maybe I'll shoot something. But yeah, that's about all I got for you guys today. Again, spot and stalk, my favorite method of hunting. But I mean, yeah, we'll see you guys in the last episode, where we'll all just be kind of compiling everything into one and breaking down, which one is the top best way to hunt, most effective, not just my opinion, but the most effective way to hunt. So yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one, and keep chasing them deers.